this is something that they'll remember me for. And they did, and we do. And sure enough, we do what we can to endure. We build our legacy piece by piece, and maybe the whole world will remember you, or maybe just a couple of people, but you do what you can to make sure you're still around after you're gone.
If I asked you to name a movie scene from the last few years that had an emotional impact on you, what would your answer be? That cafe scene from Moonlight? The halfway point of Rome? How about most of the scenes from Hereditary?
That fucking face on your face!
Well, there's one letter and two numbers that all of these films have in common. To sum up their contribution to films since their genesis in 2013, A24 have distributed some of the most game-changing films of the decade, approximately 26 of which have an 80% or more on Rotten Tomatoes, 8 of which have been nominated for Oscars, and 1 of which has won Best Picture. Allegedly.
Guys, no, this is not a joke. There's a mistake. Moonlight.
So what does A24 bring to the table that the existing Hollywood distribution system doesn't? Well, for starters, they don't purchase the distribution rights to a film
when it's already nearing the end of post-production and decide that they want to re-edit it based on the opinions of test screenings.
Amen.
They actually trust the directors to direct, which is always nice. What makes A24 so effective is that they cater the audience to the film, not the other way around. Using what is probably one of their most key resources, social media, A24 develop a marketing strategy based on the key customer segment for each film. They seem to have recognized that their target demographic for most projects is the millennial age bracket of 18 to 35, which coincidentally is the same age bracket who have been proven to love any modern film with a 4:3 aspect ratio applied. More than anything, I would say this target demographic, above all others, seeks out independent films which tell emotionally rich stories based on the vision of a talented auteur. Millennials also seem to be the most likely age bracket to have a video-on-demand subscription, which is a key channel used by A24 to distribute their films. The company secured an exclusive post-release streaming deal with Amazon Prime in 2013, which acts alongside their box office sales as their main source of revenue. However, the A24 system extends to more than just film distribution. Their auteur-driven content is also present in their glorious merch. They've got VHS transfers, A24 sweatshirts, screaming Toni Collette pins. A24 collaborate with designers like Daniel Somana to apply the vision of a talented artist to products sold through their official website, similar to their filmmaking system. This online shop is an example of their only real fixed pricing revenue stream, since all other revenue can vary depending on your VOD subscription or the cost of a film ticket at your local cinema. Local art house cinema. A largely social media driven marketing strategy like the one employed by A24 means that customer relationships can be built based on community interaction and peer-to-peer sharing, which was the case for one of their breakout hits, Spring Breakers. 90% of that film's online viewership through websites like Facebook was generated through organic interactions between peers, as opposed to advertisements boosted by the company. Considering this was A24's first commercially successful distribution, I think it's safe to say they paid attention to this online marketing strategy. The success of the company, when compared to other distribution studios, has seemingly occurred overnight. After only 3 official years in the game, A24 expanded its line of credit, one of its key financial resources, from 50 to 125 million in 2016, with the help of these guys. Although strangely enough, the studio's key physical resource, their humble 11th floor New York office space, has not expanded much in the last few years. A24 films without a doubt rely heavily on intellectual properties and auteurs as a vital resource, both in marketing films and maintaining a relationship with their customer segments. Recently, established talents like Ari Aster and James Franco, otherwise known as the man attempting to beat Sam Jackson in the race for the most IMDb credits, have been at the forefront of A24's customer relationships. When considering their target demographic and the films the company select for distribution, it makes total sense that the artists themselves would be the selling point for their films. And thankfully this occurs beyond the typical star system method which has been praising actors over crews in Hollywood for the last century. The studio have recognized a viable distribution strategy and no doubt have taken advantage of it. Their cost structure means that their only real expenditure besides basic company costs like taxes, employee salaries and real estate goes towards purchasing the films themselves. Or in the case of 2015's Room, purchasing the distribution rights when the film was still in script format. Their cost structure also extends to the production of the aforementioned merch and the online advertising boost. However, the latter requires little to no effort in the case of an A24 film. While it's unclear exactly how much A24 make from their IP deals with Amazon Prime and Netflix, the studio have discovered, or rather developed, an impressive strategy when it comes to release and post-release revenue. But even more vital than that, they have developed a positive reputation, particularly among filmmakers. And this is why directors like Ari Aster, Trey Edward Schultz, and David Lowery are coming back for more. An A24 film promises not only audience engagement and emotional depth, but that the vision of a talented auteur will be distributed to mass market platforms, untouched by studio hands.
Let's wrap this all up under the blanket of someone thinking, this is something that they'll remember me for.
And that promise, in itself, is worth the price of admission.